It's a little-known U.S. territory, which you've described to us as being the most corrupt in the United States. And, you know, I'm offended by that, being from New York City. Our mayor was indicted for bribery and conspiracy. Who's more corrupt than us?
So those weren't my words. Those were the words of a judge that was looking into the situation in the Commonwealth of Northern Mariana Islands. So if you're look at Guam, we know how important Guam is. Guam is the southern Mariana Islands. There's an island chain that goes from Guam north, and contiguous to the waters of Guam are a whole chain of islands that make up the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. And the acronym for that is CNMI, Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. They were certainly not little known about 80 years ago, which was, 80 years ago right now, the atomic bombs that were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki were being assembled on the island of Tinian in the Commonwealth of Northern Mariana Islands. And this is just months after some of the most horrific last stand fighting by the Imperial Japanese military on the island of Tinian, but also on the neighboring island of Saipan. So people may have heard of the Battle of Saipan. This is what the Japanese considered their inner defense line. They knew that if they lost Saipan, then mainland Japan was within bombing range of the B-29s, and that's exactly what happened. There was these horrific battles, which included the suicide cliffs, where entire Japanese families were throwing themselves off the cliffs, banzai charge with thousands of Japanese, including wounded Japanese, knowing that they were all going to die, just throwing themselves at mostly Marines, but other American soldier or military people as well on the island. Just all of the horrors of the Pacific theater condensed into the fighting on the Battle of Saipan, which was one of the reasons why military planners thought, if this is what it was like on Saipan, if we attack the mainland of Japan, it's going to be even worse. And it was one of the logics, one of the rationales that went into the putting together the thoughts behind dropping the bombs on Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
You pointed out that a judge said it is the most corrupt place in the United States, like per capita, something like that. What is happening there that has made it get so corrupt? And is this a new thing, or was it always corrupt?
So when the Commonwealth of Northern Mariana Islands joined the United States, there was an acknowledgement that its economy was very different than that of the mainland. And so it was given some level of control over its immigration and labor policies, because there was a thought that it couldn't just kind of jump into a mainland U.S. style economic structure. And the Chinese are very good at looking for loopholes of any sort in order to advance their interests. And in this case, what they did was they set up garment factories. So you could have a situation where you were manufacturing with Chinese low-cost labor on the territory of CNMI, label it made in the USA, and then ship it straight into the US market. That was the beginning. That was when Chinese money started to come in to corrupt and distort the CNMI economic and political structures. When China joined the WTO, it no longer needed those garment factories because it could just use Chinese slave labor in China and have direct access to the US market, and those garment factories shut down. But in the process of setting all of this up, there were, there were linkages made into CNMI's political class that allowed it to then develop tourism. But it was a very specific sort of tourism. So previous to this, for example, Saipan was a very big Japanese tourist market. It's not far away. It's very beautiful. And there were historical linkages to Japan. In fact, a lot of the older people speak Japanese. They went to Japanese schools. There are a lot of Japanese loanwords. And what ended up happening is China and Russia were allowed to come in. Chinese and Russian short-term visitors were allowed to come in to the Commonwealth of Northern Mariana Islands without a visa. No background checks, nothing. They get on a plane in China, they get off a plane in the United States of America in Saipan. That dovetailed into the setting up of a casino. Well, several actually, but we'll talk about one in particular. In Saipan, there was a governor, a man who became governor called Ralph Torres. The people of CNMI have consistently been against having a casino. He went on a trip to Hong Kong with some other people and came back as a legislator, a big fan of a Chinese casino. Introduced a bill, it got passed, he became governor. This is all reported in an excellent Bloomberg article by Matthew Campbell from 2018. Members of his family lucked into some very lucrative land deals with people associated with China, and the casino began operation. In the first 3 months after it opened in 2015, there were about 20 tables operating. In the first 3 months, $5.3 billion came through that casino.
What?
That which is almost exclusively, as far as I know, from Chinese money. This is, if I were to want to launder money into the U.S. system, this is the mother lode.
Oh my gosh! But how could it be? How could it be anything nefarious? Like, look at all the little children statues and the.
That is a very. I mean, not that casinos usually are like the height of taste and class, but that is a very garish-looking casino.
So that's not even the casino that was running the money. The casino that was running the money was in the back of a strip mall. This is what they were building to move into.
Oh.
In the first half of 2017, this Imperial Pacific was turning over 6 times more cash than the top casino in Macau.
It basically is like almost like you have this like underground Chinatown casino that's but it's running $5.3 billion.
It's got to be like state actors doing this. It's not organic.
Macau, like, firstly, people think of Vegas as being this big hub, but Macau is like multiples of Vegas, right? Macau is considered Vegas on steroids. So Saipan is
like Macau on super steroids.
Like on steroids, standing on top of Arnold Schwarzenegger. The metaphors aren't working, but the point is, it's an incredible amount of money going through for 3 months the back of a strip mall, with 20 tables, which is very, very little for those of you who don't gamble. What is happening?
And this is a direct pipeline into the U.S. financial system. So money was, one of the things that was happening was Chinese were showing up with a $10 million line of credit to then gamble at the tables. Right?
Because they can go through the junkets and they can borrow money by They win the money back in U.S. dollars and they pay off their debt in yuan.
If there ever even was any debt, I mean, if there ever actually if what was transferred was ever actually real, the whole thing needs to be, and who knows, or could be laundering fentanyl money. I mean, the amounts are huge.
Thank you for watching. I urge you to reach out to your elected officials and the media and tell them to investigate Chinese influence in the U.S. territory of Saipan. And if you want to dig deeper, I invite you to watch the entire hour-long podcast. Go to ChinaUncensored.tv, and I'll see you there.